You're listening to the PetaPixel podcast. For expert advice, incredible selection, and the best deals on photo, video, lighting, and more, you go to B&H. B&H is PetaPixel's new gear partner, and for even greater savings at B&H, we recommend the B&H Payboo credit card, which lets you save the tax. You pay the tax, and B&H pays you back instantly. Save the tax on eligible purchases shipped to eligible states. Or you can pay over time with our 6 and 12-month financing on minimum purchases of $199 for 6 months or $599 for 12 months. Terms apply. Learn more at bhphoto.com/Payboo. Credit card offers are subject to credit approval. Payboo credit card accounts are issued by Comenity Capital Bank.
Everybody, welcome to I'm going to be honest, jank episode of the PetaPixel podcast this week. I'm joined here remotely by my good buddy Chris, who's not that far away. Right, Chris?
I'm just in a different place, in a different hotel room, but yes, I'm here. Well, Airbnb, Casa rental, it's fine. I'm not a demanding person. I'm fine.
I am at a hotel here with the Fairmont, which is a lovely hotel with absolute garbage internet. I didn't hear anything you just said, Chris. So we're going to do a little experiment here. I guess I'm coming through when I talk. So I'm going to do my best to just wait until there is a clean prompt to talk. And I will do that then. So I can hear from my friend, hey, Jaron Schneider. What's going on over there?
Hi. I'm in Yokohama right now, Yokohama, Japan. Coming to you from the CP Plus show here that I'm at with Sarah, who's one room over. I'm assuming still asleep because I don't know if she's been as jet lagged as me.
I bet.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Jordan, just handing it back to you. I hope you heard some of what I just said.
Yeah, you're in Japan. That's awesome. And you seem to have a stable internet. What a technical marvel it is over there. Mecca for podcasting. We've been traveling a lot. We're in San Francisco right now, which got me thinking a little bit. Gentlemen, I would love to know, what is the best meal you've ever had on an airplane? I know this is a low bar. We deal with some rough stuff, but I was thinking about it a little bit, and it brought me back to a magical time when I was younger. But I want to hear about you guys first.
Oh.
On an airplane?
That's a good question, but it's a horrible question because I don't recall ever enjoying a meal on an airplane. Everything has been passable. Even in business.
So I think for me, the best one I ever had was on Philippine Airlines, going from Manila back to San Francisco with my mom after visiting her sister there. And the meal that they gave us wasn't like great, but you could always order in between. And I remember we ordered congee, and that was outstanding. That was a really good bowl of congee. So I remember that fondly.
Interesting.
See, for me, I've been kind of chasing a dragon a little bit. I think it was when we went to Spain, to Barcelona for Panasonic launch. It might have been going to Germany. We were going to Europe. And right at the end of the flight, they're like, you want... it was just like a curry thing. I'm like, all right, try your curry thing. And it was like a Hot Pocket, but full of curry. And it was delicious, and I have no idea what it was. I've never seen this thing again before. I don't know, was it that incredible because I was expecting so little from it? But I'm just walking through the grocery store. I'm like, one day maybe I'll find that delicious curry Hot Pocket chicken
sounds awful
little thing, because it was magical, man. It was great. I don't know if you were with me when that happened, but
I don't think so. Okay. I'm thinking about it. I'm glad you guys had good experiences. I don't really recall a meal where I was like, oh, this was fulfilling. I mean, some are better than others, whatever, but nothing. So you know what? I'm going to go with memories that I've had. There's two. So first off, of course, bad childhood. Had to travel across the country from New Jersey to Vancouver, Calgary. As an 8-year-old, alone on an airplane. So, the stewards and stewardesses have to take you there, and you always get stuck in Denver because the weather's garbage or something, right? Awful. You never, anyways. But as a kid, I do recall the memories were good. American Airlines, they'd give you the little plastic wings to put on your shirt, and then they would give you honey roasted peanuts, which were great. I remember that. Opening the package, they were awesome. The second time as an adult, I was going up to the north to the Yukon, and Air North, which is a Canadian airline, takes you basically just up into the northern Canada. Those ladies are so nice. The windows on the plane actually had like curtains that you drew, like 2 curtains that you open up. Not like a slider.
For privacy?
Yeah, dude. No, just because it's homely. And then they would come by and be like, do you want some cookies? Oh, you finished your cookies? Do you want some more cookies? Have some more cookies. Like these ladies would just give you whatever you want. It was none of this like 1/2 can of Coke, sir, and like 1 snack. No. She's like, do you want more? I'll get you more. They were like, it was like your mom taking care of you on an airplane. There you go.
That's sweet. Well,
there you go.
That was a good question, Jordan. This week, we have it's just a gigantic news dump that I really just want to get Chris and Jordan's thoughts on, because at CP Plus, lots of stuff got announced. Some stuff expected, some stuff real weird.
I just want to talk about the Canon box camera thing.
That's all I want.
That's why we're here.
I'm going to make you wait. That's the last thing on the list.
Everybody else is going to wait too.
So,
well,
let's get to it.
Let's get to it. We got interesting news. Jaron from Tokyo, Japan. You just woke up. Jordan and I, mid-afternoon, San Francisco, for the Samsung Galaxy launch event. We got lots to discuss. Now, before we go any further, I just want to point out the PetaPixel.com memberships, which we absolutely appreciate. We got a lot of supporters. There's so many benefits for you guys, and it's absolutely fantastic. So $3 a month, $30 a year, you get tons of benefits, right? I mean, first off, all the photos, the JPEGs, the RAWs that we take on reviewable gear, you can download those and you can look at the results and judge them for yourselves. You get discounts on our merch store. You get discounts at the KEH.com if you're going to buy any stuff there. You also get money back at the Moment store, $15. They've got tons of accessories, filters, new camera gear, all sorts of cool stuff, bags, straps, whatever. It's definitely worth checking out. But also, I think I want to point out, earlier I mentioned I'm staying in a rental B&B kind of thing here, right? Jordan's up at the Fairmont because, you know, he deserves it. I'm down here in a scary part of town because I deserve that. But to pay for that kind of stuff comes from the PetaPixel.com war chest. So really, it's you guys at home putting in these contributions that make these special projects possible and doable. We really appreciate that. We hope you guys enjoy the content, but it's a big thanks to you guys for doing it.
Yeah, that's actually very true. Appreciate everyone and all those who are members, and I'll keep the ad spot short and sweet here. So we'll just get straight in to our long list of talking points for the week. I actually want to bring up the first thing, which is going to be our experience with the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. And the reason I want to bring this up to start is Matt Grokut, who is one of our editors, says that in the beginning of your review, Chris, you bring up that it had been not only your first time in China, but my first time in China. But we never kind of looped back to how we felt about it. Like, did we have a good China? Did I have a good time in China? Did I feel connected to my heritage or anything like that? So he has requested that we answer that question. So how did you like China?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. It was a really cool experience, very eye-opening, beautiful country, obviously. We only scratched the surface, right? So it was nice of Xiaomi to bring us out there, and we got to see very interesting cities like Chongqing, Chengdu, up to the Tibetan Plateau, see the mountains. But, you know, there's like so many still. I mean, I want to go to Hong Kong. I want to go to Shanghai. I would love to see Changsha, Xi'an, Beijing. Like so many amazing cities would be great to go visit and see. And obviously there's tons of landscapes. I want to see the Huanshan Mountains, the Yellow Mountains. I think that'd be amazing as a photographer. So they basically took us on a tour, which makes sense when you're bringing people there for the first time, right? You get to see a lot of stuff. Doesn't give you a lot of time to shoot. It was really like cultural events and good food. You know, not a lot of time to wander, which is what we like to do, but we still made it work. We made it work, but it makes sense that they would do that. But we got to see beautiful stuff, interesting people. I really like the photography that I got out of the Xiaomi phone. It was probably the most photographically fulfilling smartphone experience I've had for quite a few reasons.
Yeah, I think that about sums up how I feel as well. I was happy to go and visit mainland China. I don't. It's like my mother, who's where I get my Chinese from. She's never been to mainland China. What do you like that phrasing? Where I get my Chinese from?
Yeah, that was fascinating choice of words.
Yes.
Look, I just woke up. My brain may not be working entirely correctly.
Like I get my Chinese from a little shop down the street
Me
about
too.
once every 2 weeks. You get your Chinese from your mom.
From my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. I mean, this is gonna sound funny. I actually kind of got tired of the food at a certain point. Probably
What?
because
You're
I'm
crazy.
not. Like, it was too much Sichuan. Chili, got like the peppercorns, like too much of that. I just
That's where we were, though.
Yeah, exactly. So,
We were in Sichuan.
Whatever. I did really enjoy the experience. I liked seeing a place that I never thought I was going to be able to see, and it was a nice experience. And I agree with your thoughts on the smartphone too, so we can transition to that because I did my best Jordan Drake impression and followed you around pointing a camera at you for a week. And
we made like what, a 48-minute documentary? Like,
it's
dear
like
Lord.
43. I managed to cull some minutes off it.
It's the length of a prestige HBO drama, basically.
There was a lot
you had
to
a lot
talk
to
about.
say.
Yeah. So did you actually.
Seen, yeah, I was, man. So you mentioned that it was the best, like, smartphone shooting experience you've had. It's probably because it's the closest thing to a standalone camera that we've shot that also happens to be a phone. So there was so much to cover, and I feel like we still didn't actually say everything we could have in it because it was already too long. So if you haven't watched the video, you should. If for no other reason than Chris's photography, I think he sent me 10008 photos that I had to put in that thing.
Oh man!
And they were all good. I liked all of his pictures.
Thank you,
Jordan. Do you remember what is the video that had the most photos he's given you, and like how many it was?
The GM5 is definitely close because that was compiled over years. So I think that was well over 100, I believe. But definitely it's the smartphone videos because you have to just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. So that makes sense that with the Xiaomi, that would be the case as well. I have to sidebar really quickly here because the other night I watched the final edit of that Xiaomi video and I enjoyed it very much. Just looking for any issues or anything like that. Watching it a second time held my interest. Now, this might speak badly to my skills as a videographer and an editor because after that, I watched last year's Samsung S25 Ultra video just as a refresher before doing our talking points for this trip. And I've never done this before. I passed out at my desk, like into my laptop, earbuds. I found them on the floor the next day. They must have just rolled out of my head.
Damn.
I bored myself to death with the S25 review in a way that has never happened to me before. So yeah, great job on that Xiaomi episode, Jaron.
Well,
the music was good.
Excellent.
It was
excellent transition because Chris, we happened to see you two doing a Samsung video again. So you just came from, I think this might be difficult for some people to believe, and maybe there is some truth to it, that you can go from having your great experience with a product is influenced by where you are. But at a certain point, there is a disconnect between the product and where you are. So tell me how things are going. How would you compare your experience with Xiaomi's smartphone and Samsung's because they're both Android phones?
I just threw it away. There we go. That's how I feel about it. No, I mean, I guess there's a lot of things we have to consider too. Okay, so the Xiaomi was interesting because first off, it's the first time I've used that phone. Or really it's not the first time I used a Chinese phone, but the first time I've used a Xiaomi. And then on top of that, the grip that they used was a huge part of that review. I mean, really, there's something about the way they've designed the handling, the user interface, and the grip that makes it really enjoyable. And I know people are going to be like, Chris, there's grips for all the phones, right? But a lot of them MagSafe in, or they're bulky, or they're this huge monstrosity that clips on the front. And this thing was sleek and easy to use and simple, and I really liked it. But also the color profiles, the image quality, the Xiaomi just took really nice photos, and I felt like I could engage the camera, shoot immediately. It didn't feel like shooting a smartphone. Plus, they're not doing a lot of like AI stuff. They're not doing like a lot of generative stuff or anything like that. So for me, it was like shooting a camera where I would shoot in RAW, maybe apply a color profile, maybe edit it in Lightroom afterwards, right? So it was very much like a camera. The Samsung, I would say, is very different. I mean, first off, we are in San Francisco, totally different city, a former hometown of yours, Jaron, I know. And I mean, a beautiful city on its own, totally different. But mainland China, it's like everything's new. People all over the place, interesting things to shoot, different light, right? San Francisco, I've shot in before. It's obviously way bigger and more interesting than Calgary, so it's still fun to shoot, but I'm not finding the same kind of draw. Sometimes you just don't feel it as a photographer, or you're not in the mood either or anything like that, so who knows? But I'm going around taking photos. I don't love the Samsung Galaxy interface for photography. In some ways, especially if you want to do the expert stuff, it seems overly convoluted, having to go through many different megapixel resolutions, and then oh, is this camera still working? Or can I still use that lens? It's always confusing. If you use it as a point and shoot, it's fine. It's easy, it's simple. And I think that Samsung is definitely, as much as they want to say like, oh yeah, we support our pros, you can do expert RAW, you can do, more advanced photography. At the same time, the push is really now to go towards AI and AI generation, making stickers, turning your friends into oil paintings. And the generative AI now this year is not only faster to use, but far more realistic looking. But is that what advanced photographers want? Not really. So I have been trying to play with it as a photographer where I say, okay, well, I'm going to use the generative, but I'm going to do it to add filter effects, right? Change the lighting, that kind of thing. But yeah, you got to test everything. So yeah, I'm taking pictures of bees and I'm adding extra bees that are AI generated. You know what I mean? And I'm taking shots in boring light and then saying, well, make it look like it was shot at sunset. And the fact of the matter is, it actually does a really nice job in a way that's far better than what we saw in the Google and Samsung previous phones. So it's scary to me. It puts powerful AI generation into the hands of everybody. It's not like you have to go learn a software, like Sora or something. You don't have to do that. You don't have to invest the time and do a subscription. It's at your fingertips, and it's actually quite powerful. So it's very clear where Samsung's going with this direction, and it's also going to very much, I think, polarize who wants to use a phone like this, if that makes sense.
Anything to add, Jordan?
I mean, the big thing, I don't have nearly that much because it's not doing generative AI stuff with video. Their big headline feature this year is they've got their new Advanced Professional Video Codec, which is all eye compression that is not editable on anything except Resolve right now, and apparently CapCut as well, if I want to do it on a thing. But the decision to, make these massive all-eye file sizes as kind of their headline feature with image quality that looks the same, basically, as the compressed footage, unless you have truckloads of motion in the shot, just seems like an odd one for me. And it doesn't address some of the issues I've had with their video quality before. But it's my favorite Android camera for video since I haven't used the Xiaomi yet, and that hasn't changed this year. So I'm having a little more fun than Chris, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No. I'm just trying to think of, how I can sort of, we do have to appreciate there are some interesting hardware changes. They did increase the aperture on 2 cameras, which is a huge thing. I mean, that really is appreciable because that's quite a bit of extra light, which is very important in a smartphone. So I like that. But it's funny that during the launch event, the 2 biggest pieces of fanfare. One was one of the employees there at Samsung. I don't know. He's like the most popular dude in the world because whenever he came on the screen, everybody would cheer, and then every other employee would come on and nothing. So I don't know who this guy is or what he does. I don't know.
But he seems like a good-looking guy. Yeah, I don't know what the appeal is. What is? Yeah,
he's insanely popular. The second, he was more popular than the Korean musician they had on there. So the other popular thing, the privacy function, the fact that you can look at your phone and it will only show you straight on to your angle what you're looking at, but anybody who's even slightly off angle won't be able to see. So I guess you can look at important notifications and send spicy text to your significant others and goon on Instagram, and nobody else can tell. So that's awesome, I guess, right? A lot of people, but the fanfare, the cheers were huge for that. Huge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are working on your full review, which won't be published by the time this podcast comes out. So we'll wait for your final opinion.
Yes. There's lots to analyze. Yeah.
Let's get on with stuff that happened in the last week and launched at CP Plus. First one is that, you guys mentioned that dongle, little USB-C plug for Tamron lenses.
Yes.
That lets you control the lens wirelessly. What we weren't super clear on until after we published news on this was that this is a required piece if you want to use the new iOS connectivity, which I didn't fully appreciate as a factor of this. And I don't know, are you guys still going to do like a breakdown of what you can do with Tamron Link, Jordan?
I really want to. So I don't know if it'll be a dedicated episode or a podcast thing, but what they're doing is really interesting with this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people assume it's just like, oh, can you like set your focus distance linear and nonlinear and the direction and stuff? But no, you can use it as a digital focus puller now, which it's very responsive for actually set marks and things like that.
Yeah.
Because these lenses are all electronic now. So as long as you can access them electronically, you can do really cool stuff. Focus pulls during time lapse, things like that would generally require like a motion control unit with a follow focus attachment. You can just plug in this dongle and do that. But yeah, it is disappointing. The requirement to use the dongle, I think, is totally logical for using the focus pulling features on it. That makes sense because the camera's going to be mobile generally in those situations. But for doing things like setting up custom buttons and doing like time lapse, I don't want to have my phone sitting there out beside the thing. I just want to like wire it in and know for sure that it's going to work. The Bluetooth signal won't get interrupted. That seems like a shortcoming to me. So when we do wind up touching on this in more detail, that's something I'm going to really recommend is like Tamron just has to sort out having wired USB-C connectivity, or, you can plug it into your computer as well as an option with the same software, which is what time-lapse photographers have been doing for years.
I'm getting the sense that it's an iOS restriction. That is why they can't do a wired control with the app. That's why it came to Android first in like at least a year ago, if not more. So I feel like they had been working to try and resolve this and couldn't. So they had to develop an entirely separate product just to do it. So this might not be a Tamron situation. It might just be an iOS limitation, and we have to live with it, which kind of stinks.
It's getting there. I mean, it's still a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and the dongle, it's still $50 is not cheap for something that's only going to work on one company's lenses.
Yeah.
But I've never done a focus pull during a time lapse before, and now I've got an accessible way to do it. So I'm actually excited to use this.
What was nice is looking at the interface of the software. It's actually very polished. I kind of expected like for this first attempt, it would kind of be rough and, but actually it's a beautiful UI. So kudos to them for that. I think it's going to be nice. Well, it was nice to use. We tried it in there. It all made sense. That's the key thing with the software is if you can pick it up right out of the bat and just make it work, that means it's designed well. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been beating the drum whenever we review Tamron lenses. Like, I know it's outside of a lens review, but we should talk about how good their app is when I was just using it on desktop. And yeah, moving it over to mobile now and having the option, it's unfortunate you can't go wired, but to have the option to go wireless as well for things like follow focus is really cool. And they should be applauded for that.
All right. Next on the board, this is kind of just a PSA because I have no idea what's going to come of this, if anything. But DJI, who is being harangued, blocked, life made unpleasant by the U.S. government, is going to sue the FCC for preventing it from importing and selling its products in the U.S., probably arguing that they have never been investigated for it. Like they were supposed to be audited and they were supposed to like look at their business closely, and the government just didn't do it and just decided to block them without doing the thing. So I'm wondering if that's what they're going to try and do. But DJI products, specifically their drones, but really everything else is just not easy to purchase in the United States anymore. And I think they're trying to do their best to resolve it through legal channels. But who knows if that will work, because I don't have a lot of faith that it will.
I have nothing to add to that.
That was your chance to add something? No,
I'm
nothing?
sorry.
We're moving on.
We'll see what happens.
We have not yet. Well, we hadn't received our review unit prior to announcement. I think that's because we requested to make sure that it was a final production unit. I think it might have arrived by now. I can't remember if it did, but Zeiss announced the Otus ML 35mm f1.4, which is the third of its new Otus series lenses for mirrorless. And they promise this thing delivers lots of character, which I'm wondering if that means Loca.
Yeah.
Why don't you give your thoughts on Otus thus far, Chris?
I'm going to be completely honest. So look, I'm always happy to play with the Zeiss lens and see what it's like.
Especially a 35.
You know how much I love 35. And you know what? Like, we have to give them credit. They're building a lens with a lot of optical correction, right? They kind of want to shy away from having to rely on digital profiles and digital correction stuff, which is commendable, absolutely. But I also feel like the lenses that I've played with, they have some issues. They have some flaws. They tend to have Loca, chromatic aberration to some degree. But, again, optically, they're good lenses. Like, I'm happy to use them. I'm happy to shoot them. The problem is they're also generally large and ridiculously expensive, right? And you're just losing a lot of functionality. But at the same time, look, we play with other lenses like Light Lens Lab, for example, and Omnar Bertele and stuff. These sort of lenses that are designed to have some flaws on purpose and character, right? But Zeiss used to be the optical standard. And back in the day, the original Otus lenses were designed to be better than what the other manufacturers are making. And so that made sense when you look at, it's manual focus only, it is expensive, but I'm getting something I cannot get at the time with a Nikon or Canon lens, right? Nowadays, that's not the case. So what worked 15 years ago isn't necessarily going to work nowadays in that regard, right? Because everybody makes fantastic lenses. They're super precise. They're super sharp. They're well corrected. All the manufacturers are finding ways to get clean bokeh and low Loca and flare resistance. And so then you're like, well, what am I paying all this extra money for, right? What am I paying for flaws? And we're talking a lot more money, right? So that's the issue. That's the issue. Plus, it's a 35 mil, so
The timing of this coming out right around the same time as the Sigma 35 Art version 2 is really interesting, and that's a great comparison where we can have a relatively affordable professional lens, and we'll be able to look at those charts side by side here shortly. And I'm very curious whether we'll see that, the benefits of having an optically corrected lens from Zeiss compared to the state-of-the-art from one of the best lens manufacturers for like
digital.
a third of the price.
Yeah.
With digital what an
correction.
amazing segue there, Jordan, because that's the next thing on the board. Yeah, we have a new Sigma 35 f1.4 DG2 Art that is 20% lighter than the first version.
Yeah. But that first version is getting long in the tooth, right? It's been around for a while. Yeah. So, and it wasn't great. I mean, it was fine, right, Jordan? You didn't love it.
Yeah. So the big thing I recall is they're really emphasizing the smaller weight, but I think this is one of the very few art lenses that actually really needed an update.
Yeah.
Because the DSLR version of the 35 basically started Sigma's entire latest history being like one of the great lens manufacturers. I was expecting great things from the mirrorless version, and I was like, okay, it's pretty good, but it was a little outclassed by like the Sony G Master and stuff released around the same time. And it's been in the lineup for a while. So I'm hoping like a little smaller and lighter, that rocks. But what I'd really love to see is just some of those incredible optics that we know Sigma is capable of doing. Just bring their latest technologies into this and really kind of blow us away, because I love a 35-1.4. What a great focal length aperture combination that I'm looking forward to playing with.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
I love the defocus area. I'm looking at some of the pictures that Sigma provided as samples, what to expect. And there's one of a cat on a street just sitting there, and the background is like really well, like, the bouquet is beautiful. It looks really nice.
I mean, look, they have to update this lens. I don't know why I have to keep doing so many 35 mil lenses this year. It's ridiculous. Like this past year.
People love them.
It's so stupid. And it's like, there's some really good ones out there now, right? Like Everybody and their dog has made a 35 mil fast lens now. A lot of companies have f1.2 versions out as well. So yeah, 35-1.4 is a nice lens. I guess I'll play with it and we'll see. And I get that it has to be updated because the old one, it's getting up there. But I don't know. You can tell how excited I'm going to be.
Yeah, well, you already reviewed Sigma's other lens that got announced and actually produced, because there's a bunch of news from Sigma. We're in the Sigma block right now. There are 5 stories here. So the Sigma 15-1.4, you actually seemed pretty happy with, Chris.
Yeah, a little APS-C because it's a 22 millimeter full frame field of view equivalent, which is awesome. Like, why not? Great little lens. Yeah, it's fun to see APS-C get love. It's very straightforward. It's very simple, but it does. We played with it. We got to go to the Contemporary Calgary Art Gallery, which is cool. I haven't been there for decades, so it was nice to see it as an art gallery. And actually, the caliber work was fantastic, I have to say. Beautiful stuff there. But also, a fun little lens, decently fast, very compact. I guess that being said, there is a fair amount of competition. We forgot to mention Viltrox actually have a lot of lenses for Fujifilm X mount and Sony E mount and stuff in APS-C. But still, nice lens. Yeah, happy to use it. It was fine.
If you're a Canon user with an APS-C camera, this lens is a no-brainer. This older 16 has been available before, but this thing is so much smaller, faster focusing, and basically the same price. So I really think Sigma considers this a replacement for the 16 millimeter. And there it crops out to a perfect 24 millimeters, which can't be a coincidence. That's one of my favorite focal lengths. So everyone should have a fast 24. It's so much fun to shoot. Go buy this lens if you're a Canon user. If you're, like Chris said, Sony and Fujifilm users, there's so many alternatives.
Yeah, good ones. Yeah.
Well, this is almost perfectly timed because it's right after you guys said you don't need them. But Sigma has announced that it is developing an 85 millimeter f1.2 art lens for full frame mirrorless cameras. 85 is right there with your favorite focal lengths, Chris, but you said you don't need one too.
Well, yeah. So to give context, we just made a video about how f1.2 is kind of excessive. When you compare it to an f1.4 lens, it's only a third of a stop brighter. Are you really seeing that much of a difference in shallow depth of field? And honestly, in a lot of portrait situations, do you even want that shallow depth of field? The fact is, I'm usually shooting a lot of portraits at f4, f5.6. There's clearly no benefit there. Now, certainly if you're going to be like a specialized low light shooter, maybe you're doing concert photography or something like that. But I would still again argue that a 1.4 is very close. And on top of that,
a third of a stop.
A third of a stop. Yeah, I said, yeah. But on top of that, we can crank ISO and shadows so much more than we used to be able to. I get back in the days of film or early digital, you needed every ounce of light you could get. But nowadays, I think we're spoiled. I don't see the difference in cranking my ISO up a little bit more, certainly not a third of a stop. And you're paying for a much heavier lens. It's going to be, bigger, bulkier, more expensive, heavier. I don't know why you'd necessarily want to do that. But again, I will play with it. I like the focal length. I would almost argue, I will argue that for my style personally, I see the benefit more in ultra-fast wide-angle lenses like 35 mm f1.2 lenses where I can actually get a very stark separation of my subject against a background. When it comes to strong telephotos like 85s or 105s or whatever, I don't find that I need these ultra-fast apertures because I don't often want to shoot there. It's too shallow. It's too shallow in a lot of cases.
Now, the Sigma 85-1.4 is an excellent lens.
Great lens.
But that is, again, an older optic. Sigma's got better focusing motors and stuff now. So I'm almost curious, would you have preferred to see an update on the 85-1.4 that's smaller and lighter than this forthcoming 1.2?
I mean, again, I'm happy to play with it because that's one of the joys of the job is I get to play with all this latest stuff, but I have to do it in terms of what would a prospective buyer want or need, and also, what's my personal opinion about whether you need that or not. So, I think it's going to be good. I'm sure it'll be very sharp, wide open at f1.2. Sigma usually does a really good job of that. So, we'll see what Loca's like. We'll see what Flare's like, but fun lens almost, I almost find this ultra fast glass to be like fun lens from a theoretical engineering standpoint. You know, that question of like, do we build it because we could? Maybe, you know, did we, you know, we always
Sorry,
ask,
breaking
you know,
up. I think I missed something there with my bad connection.
Yeah,
it was
that's
just a
what
bunch
it
of
was.
arbitrary sounds for a
Quick
second.
stroke.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The classic, right? The classic. You know, we only stop to think if we could. We never stop to think if we should, right?
All right, Jeff Goldblum. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I said there were 5 Sigma stories. I misspoke. There are 4. The last one is that it's this is so very Sigma.
Rice.
Sigma is a farming company now, and when I saw this, it immediately took me to. You guys don't watch this type of stuff, but the other people might appreciate it. There's from Rogue One, Star Wars. It's farming, a man of your talents. It's a simple life.
Oh boy,
well, that's
nerd.
what
What a great
Kazuda-san's
movie,
doing.
though. What a great movie.
They are going to support the Aizu region by establishing a farming company to cultivate rice. Now, so yesterday I saw Johnny, who was our guide and our friend of ours from Sigma, who
he's
lives
nice
and works here in Japan. And if you recall, while we were doing our review last year here in Japan, as he was our driver, he was mentioning that some of the rice just sits in the fields out there. There's no one to gather it. That was sort of a foreshadowing, because Sigma also saw this and said, we want to fix it. So they care deeply for this region and really want to make sure that it is like the people are happy, that it is a flourishing region, and that they're doing stuff for Aizu, not just for Sigma. I haven't spoken to Kazuto-san about this yet. I'm scheduled to talk to him today, but I'm sure he'll go into more detail about like why this is important to him personally. But there was obviously we saw it. There was just rice sitting in the fields, not being harvested.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember even maybe he was mentioning something about how, like, as a community, if they have the manpower, they'll kind of get together sometimes and like help harvest this kind of stuff, right? Like, but again, you need to have people around to do that, and they have to have time and stuff. So yeah, that's awesome if they want to invest in it. And apparently Aizu region has very clean water, as we discussed. That's partly why they polish the lenses there in the first place, right? They need that pristine water, but of course rice also does. So I'm sure Aizu rice is very high quality.
The other shoe's gonna drop at some point. Like, they're just making me like this company too much at this point that I am now becoming suspicious that they're like, we'll make a reasonably priced, excellent optics, and also we're helping with the water, with our rice to also feed people. These are all things I'm in favor of.
Yeah,
sus, man. Sus.
The next possible thing they could do, and I'd be really in favor of this, is I want some Sigma sake using Sigma Aizu rice.
Wow,
that would be good.
It's going to be expensive importing all that Sigma specific rice to your house, Jaron. I know you're going to refuse any other brand. I mean, I'll eat any Calrose I can find. I don't care, short grain. I don't care where it's from. But I know you're very picky. You're an aficionado.
I'm very
some would say a snob.
Discerning. Yeah. I'm looking forward to having some Aizu rice.
All
right,
snob.
Next story. I don't know how they got away with this, but they are Megadap, a brand we haven't. Were they part of your adapter review, Jordan?
Yeah, that's the one we tested.
Yeah.
Okay. They are making one for RF mount that will autofocus M mount lenses.
Wow. Oh, okay. That's not too crazy.
Yeah, we've seen that before. That we've tested actually an E-mount version of this. I think it was the Tech Art. Is that right?
Yeah,
Chris?
it was the Tech Art. Yeah, and I think there's an E-mount, and it's got like a mechanical helicoid with motors to push it. Right. I mean, because you're basically just basing it off contrast and reverse engineering the electrical connections to do it, but it's like quite slow, quite noisy, lots of moving parts, exposed to the environment, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like it's very steampunk, I think, the Tech Art. But Canon RF's a big, wide-bodied mount. You got a lot of space there for electronics and mechanics. So sounds like it should be. That's why I said, that's not too tough. That should be pretty straightforward.
There's certainly precedent.
Yeah.
It's just odd to see anything autofocusing on RF mount that does not have a Canon logo on it. So I'm just curious how they got
there you
away
go.
with
I guess their patent doesn't extend to slowly moving the lens forward and backward, only spinning the actual focusing mechanism on the lens.
You know,
Fair.
I mean, will it have electrical connection and stuff? Probably not, right? Typically, these things do not have any sort of connection that way. So, you know, the camera still meter, but you're not going to get any sort of metering coupling or anything like that.
Two more stories. This one you already reviewed. Well, you had a hands-on first look at it.
Ooh.
But Nikon's now 2/3 of the way through finishing their version 2 Trinity. So what did we 16 to 35? Is that the last one that we would consider?
Yeah.
1424.
1424. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So but the 7200 f2.8 VRS2 is faster, sharper, and way lighter. And you liked it, as I recall.
I did like it.
Did you like that price though?
No, well, but no, of course not. But you know what? And Nikon even did say themselves, they're like, yeah, this is the most expensive this lens has ever been. You know what I mean? Like this, but it's on par with Canon's. I mean, I think that's just kind of where a lot of these expensive lenses are sitting now. But it's good. It's small, slightly smaller, definitely lighter. Although the first lens was kind of a pig, so, weight wise. So, this is definitely lighter though. The first one was optically quite nice. A lot of people are like, oh, the autofocus was fine. Sure. But when we did our comparison back in the day, compared to other brands, right? Then the Nikon did lag behind in the autofocusing department. Doesn't mean it's not fast enough to do what you want to do with it, but it did lag behind. But you'll still find people who are going to want to buy the older version now that this one's come out. The price will come down on that. You'll find them used. No.
Yeah, because I don't believe Nikon is going to continue to produce them. From what they told me, they have
probably used
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll still find them on store shelves, but once they're done new in that capacity, there won't be more. And then you can go, of course, to like KEH and get a used one if you want that. It'll be cheaper for sure that way.
Yeah. But this new one is I mean, people are going to like the removable foot. They're going to like the fact that it's Arca Swiss compatible now. The focusing is incredibly fast. Obviously, you got the new Silky Swift motors. Silly name, but they work and they are true to their namesake. Optically was
Define
good.
silky.
It was silky. The only thing that wasn't silky, and again, we were testing a pre-production unit. That's just the nature of our business. Sometimes that's what we have access to, and we still were able to test enough out of it. But they let us test bokeh, and I wasn't blown away by the quality. It's got some schmutz. It's got some onion rings in there. The backgrounds still look fairly soft, but maybe a little bit more frenetic than they should or could. So I was surprised by that. I thought this would be a little bit cleaner in the bokeh department, but bokeh is subjective. Apparently the way you pronounce it is subjective too. So, what are you going to do?
Disagree.
I want to know, Chris, this is the second of the trio. What do you think Nikon could do to the 14 to 24 that would make you be like, oh, wow, that's worth an upgrade for sure?
Ooh, that was always a very good lens optically. I guess you go two directions. There's certainly room to miniaturize it a little bit. It was a big lens. Will they keep the 2.8 aperture?
That seems to be their trend anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they give it up.
They're going to miniaturize it.
It would be nice to have easier to use filters as a setup. I don't know how possible that is. You could do a hood-based filter adapter with the 1424, as I recall, but you wouldn't be able to shoot it at 14, or you could use rear filters, of course. So I don't know if they'll find a way around that.
That's what I'd love to see. I think that would actually make that a far more usable optic. Otherwise, I'd probably just jump on the Tamron, their 16 to 30, something like that would make a little more sense. So I think a real update there would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Last story. Finally, Jordan. Finally. We can talk
Tell me,
about it.
I don't want to hear from the article. I just want you to go through step by step. You saw it. What was the thought process? Clearly, you've seen it out of the glass. Give us the whole. Paint us a short story of this weird ass thing, Jaron. Go.
All right. So what Jordan is referring to is Canon showcased a nameless waist level viewfinder SLR camera with that is look, the one that we could actually touch, they had like two sides of this thing. On one side there is under glass two proposed design choices that they have. One of them is like retro inspired, and one of them is more modern inspired. And they're essentially asking, which one would you prefer? What direction should we go? We're soliciting feedback. And then on the other side of this podium, there was a 3D printed version that was clearly less finished than the ones that were under glass. Like finished isn't like made to look good, but the ones under glass probably don't function. So this one functioned. Like they let you, and by you I mean literally anyone who is willing to wait in line can come up to this thing, pick it up, and use it. So when in our pictures on the article on PetaPixel, you'll see there's like a cable attached to it. That's not a lock. They weren't afraid that I was going to run off with it. That was an HDMI adapter so that they could show everyone around what was on the screen, like what the pictures looked like. And so the way this thing works is it's a manual focus only lens of a focal length that they didn't tell me. Or a speed. I have no idea.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, I was curious about the aperture.
No information on the lens whatsoever. Okay, I can't help you there, but I can tell you that it focused manually. The light enters that, and the cross section of it, so the light would come in, and then there's like a kind of a slope here, and the mirror would bounce that up onto what they described as a screen. I said, does it function like ground glass? And they're like, yes, but it's not glass. So Chris surmises that it's probably
plastic. It's acrylic or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking at when you're doing your waist level viewfinding. So it's a true image of what you're seeing, like on that. And then there's a trigger on the
and contrast on that.
Awful. It is and impossible to see.
And I'm assuming it's reversed left to right. Did you notice that?
I didn't hold it. Sarah did. So I
wake her up. Get the answer.
Yeah, knock on her door. Go and knock on her door. Wake her up. Yeah.
Just assume what it would be like if all you were doing was bouncing light up onto a plastic screen. That's what that's all it's doing.
Why I bring that up is because that particular setup would be very medium format-esque SLR kind of style, right? 45-degree reflex mirror. Your image would be reversed left to right.
Yeah, it's like a Hasselblad or a Rolleiflex. That's what it's obviously kind of based on. Which is weird because Canon didn't make a camera like that. So I don't know, like the vintage inspired, like they're not really dipping into the heritage there. I'll go back. I'll come back to that. Anyway, so when the trigger on the side is like a big lever, and when you flip the lever down, it moves a mirror over so that then the light path then hits that mirror and bounces it towards the sensor, which is kind of at the front of the camera. Then you fully depress that to take the picture. That screen on the back flips up, so you can use that while you've closed the mirror, I think is the idea, so you could actually see the picture.
Oh, of course, yeah, because the light's now hitting the sensor.
To be clear, there's a optical analog viewfinder, and there's also a digital display on the back of the camera that flips up. Correct. You get two screens. Yeah.
Like a live view SLR.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is a Type 1 sensor.
Right.
That seems like an odd choice, Jaron.
But again, that might just be, okay, but I guess the things you have to make clear first.
The language they used. The language they use is this prototype has a Type 1 sensor. That's what they said. So can they change it? Sure.
Of course they can. But why would you make a camera that large for a Type 1? Makes no sense. But even the lens
is large. I described it as about the size of a grapefruit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the size of a medium format camera, right? Like Bronica ETRS was not a big camera in comparison, right? So I think it must just be like a proof of concept. I'm sure that they are going to have a different lens. I'm sure they're going to have a different sensor. Otherwise, I think it'd be stupid. Straight up stupid.
Why don't you tell me what you think, George?
And they never committed to doing this, right? They didn't say like, we're planning to make this. They're just like, look at this fun thing for CP+. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to hand this to you, Jordan. You tell me what you think.
I mean, here's where I'm a little conflicted. Like, I'm skeptical of the Type 1 sensor and everything like that, but people are so fixated on like a mechanical element, I think is going to be really compelling, like actually flipping that viewing screen up before taking an exposure. Like I think that's an experience people are really going to like dig, even if a lot of the time, if they're actually trying to take good pictures, they'll probably wind up just flipping that mirror up and just shooting like it's live view off the back LCD on it. But I could see people getting really excited. I don't want this to be an X-half situation where it's like, there's a lot of novelty there, but the mechanical part isn't actually that satisfying, which takes away a lot of the appeal of it. And then you're left with image quality that was worse than your smartphone in a weird, very expensive camera. And this thing will not be cheap. Like if they're actually flipping out a viewfinder on it, it's going to be pricey. So they better make that mechanical aspect of it really satisfying. And yeah, I think Type 1 is too small. Like make it APS-C or something like that. So there is, again, an appreciable image quality benefit to shooting it with your phone.
I think they're just toying with us. I think they're just having fun and doing something silly for CP Plus, who knows, or starting a very early concept. But it is very strange they would let people touch it. That's rare to even develop it that far.
That makes me think it's a real thing.
Yeah. But if it was just behind glass and we never see it again, great. But the fact that they have a person there that lets you take pictures with it, you don't get to keep the pictures, but you could actually, they had a subject in front that you could actually like aim at and try and play with it. Like now, it was a working camera.
What would be very cool is if they did something similar, like an SLR style, but similar to like the Hasselblad CFV 100. That would be interesting, right? Getting behind something like that where maybe this is just a ploy to put a medium format sensor into a camera, and maybe get into that arena. Because it's way too big otherwise, or full frame. I mean, it's way too big. Or they should make a digital TLR. But what I'm most upset about is they looked us right in the face and said, we have zero interest in exploring our vintage heritage. But this is not their vintage heritage.
That's what I want to hit. Yes. So I want to see them rip off every other camera manufacturer. That's what I want to see. Is just like, all right, look, we made like a Polaroid land camera. It says Canon on it, man. Or here's a Pentax K1000 y'all won't shut up about. We will not reproduce any of our classic cameras, but we are ripping off everyone as we go into the future. This is the new Canon. I would be excited for that future.
Well, a Canon Flex digital TLR would be hot. It would be hot.
So, as you know, I talked to executives, and yesterday I did have an interview with Canon, and the guy who told me last year that they didn't want to do vintage had a kind of a bit of an addendum to that. And he said the clarifying point was they don't want to do vintage for the sake of vintage. They want, if they do that, for there to be some sort of shooting experience difference. Then that would make sense for them. They don't want to just do it for the looks. They want it to affect how you take the picture. And that is why he's saying in this case, it can make sense. Now, granted, it's only one of two possible options. It doesn't have to be vintage expired. Obviously, it can just be a box. They don't care. But like they gave you an idea of what that would look like if they gave you the more angular look stuff that a vintage design, or the more modern, clean look. But he's saying essentially, if we're going to do that lever situation, well, then it makes sense for it to be vintage.
All right.
So, I want to take a litmus test here from you two. I want you to give me the odds that this camera actually comes out.
I'm going to be skeptical about it. I don't know what the odds are. Well, you want a percentage?
Yeah. Give me Vegas odds.
20% chance this is coming out. 20%.
I was going to say, I'm close. I think the fact that they actually let people touch this at the trade show floor and that they are prototyping a couple versions of it improves things a little bit. I'm going to say 35%, 1 in 3 chance this thing actually hits market, but I'm not willing to go any further than that.
It's not like an engineering marvel to stick a point and shoot like sensor assembly and screen output into the back of a box. You know what I mean? Like it's not exactly that difficult to do. So I don't think they had to like put millions of dollars of R&D into making this prototype. You know what I mean? Like clearly they put some money into it if they're building different body designs and wanting to see what people respond to. But yeah, I don't know.
I got an alternate conspiracy theory. They realized, like, we have two incredibly niche ultra-wide angle lenses are our only recent products. How do we get people buzzy? Let's throw something weird as hell on the CP Plus floor that will never actually come to market, but will make it look like Canon's drawing a huge crowd. And that might have been exactly what they did and succeeded with.
What I think would make the most sense if they do go through with this would be something like Canon's version, their take on the Fujifilm GFX RF, something like that. And is there a market for that? I don't know. See.
We'll see. We'll come back to this. If in a year we hear nothing and it's not at the booth again next year, we'll draw our conclusions then. Let's get on to what have you been up to? And I'm going to start because I met up with a fan of the show here in Japan. His name is Mark, and he was really excited. He wanted to meet you guys too, but he was still seemingly excited to see me, which was surprising.
I'm sure he was.
And he said, he emailed and is like, I want to give you film, Jaron. Can I give you some film? And so
you said, no,
if you really
I don't shoot film.
I said, if you want to give me film, you can. So he met up, and I have a couple things here I want to show you. So he gave me this Ziploc bag.
Oh, no.
And this Ziploc bag.
Oh,
with rare film, ranging from Fujifilm, Superia Venus 400, NPC 160.
Classic stuff.
He's got what else is in here? There's Astia in here. There's Pro 400 in here,
dude,
in both medium format and in 35 millimeter. But Chris, this is one
that film's older than my children.
This one you'll appreciate.
Wow. Who still develops that?
Can't develop
no
it.
one. He says that it'll look really nice on my shelf.
Yeah, there you go.
He just wanted me to have it. But there was one more thing that he gave to me that he went out of his way to acquire, and he says we have to fight over it, which means I'm not giving it to either of you.
Okay, well, that was a quick fight.
Short fight.
I'm going to see if you can see what I'm about to.
Sorry, my upload is so bad here. I can barely see. Oh, I think a train is forming. Oh, the train strap.
He got us a train strap.
And you got the train strap. Well, you know my opinion on camera straps, so I'm good.
Yeah, Chris doesn't actually want it, but
it's
maybe
Jordan who's
Jordan,
upset.
I was one of the people who said that looks hot. So yeah, Jaron and I will have a bare knuckle brawl next time we're in the same city.
Yeah. We can maybe we can do like a divorced situation where we can share custody.
We can do custody. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but it is.
That's hot, man. I don't care. That's
strap.
Cool.
Think of how many salarymen have fallen asleep on that material that's now around your neck. That's amazing, dude. Yeah, there you go.
Smells like train. At any rate, Mark, this was exceptionally kind of you.
Very cool.
I didn't think I could express our gratitude enough. So thank you so much for taking the time to come meet with me. And
wow.
I mean, he also gave me like Superia Premium, like brand new Superia Premium, which is impossible to get in the United States. So I'm going to shoot that. And it was just really nice of him. So there you go. That's what I've been up to.
So Jordan and I are here in San Francisco, of course. We're here for the Samsung Galaxy launch event, which happened yesterday. And we're playing with the phone. We're making our video. We're doing our thing. But we also shot another episode here. I don't know. Do we spoil it? Do we just keep it a secret, Jordan, for now?
I think we keep it a secret. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll keep it a secret. But just to mention, we had our own little analog experience. Okay. And I wanted to get some film developed really quickly. So I went to PhotoWorks SF, which is a very cool shop. Like cool shop, nice people. But I don't know how you analog people afford to do your art form. It's ridiculously expensive, like stupid expensive. And yeah, we had to get a rush because we want to get it done before we go back to Canada. I do not want it to pass through the CT scanners again at the airport. And so, yeah, I could ask for a hand inspection. But I also want to see if we got anything from San Francisco to know if I need to, I don't know, run out in the middle of the night and shoot more. So it's crazy. I don't know. It's crazy. The film is expensive. I had to buy a roll of Candido at the Leica store to keep shooting for night stuff. And like, it's ridiculous. I know I'm a cheap bastard, but still, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I'm sorry.
Like scans.
I don't know.
You should be sorry. To get it developed and scanned is crazy, dude.
I'll tell you what I've been up to. this week is watching Chris get approached by strangers because they watch our show, because apparently everyone in San Francisco is obsessed with watching camera reviews on the internet.
Yeah.
It is nuts, man. Like
on the street,
everywhere we go. Yeah.
Restaurant.
Yeah. And we're saying like, oh, it's a top secret camera that we're shooting. Half the world knows already because they've all walked up to us on the streets of San Francisco asking what camera he's shooting now.
We went down like one section of Maiden Lane, and we had like a postman and like 3 other people just be like, "Oh, hey, the show, the photo show, it's great." We got one guy in a rough
estimate. How many total people have said
maybe 9? Maybe 9, like on the street. Yeah, 9 on the street, like in 3 days. That's pretty. That's high. Yeah, one guy in a scary underpass. He's like, "Oh, you." Yeah, the postman was funny. Then of course this restaurant tour we go in last night. There's an izakaya.
We went in the wrong restaurant by accident.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, guys, sorry, like we don't have space. It's like only reservations tonight for this izakaya. We'd love to, maybe next time." But he's like, "By the way, I love your show. My name is Joe. I watch your show all the time." I'm like, what? So,
and you're going there tonight.
Cool. We're going to go there tonight.
We're going to hit up Joe's izakaya tonight.
But yeah, no, we're very grateful, and it's just been fantastic that we've had so many people. But I don't know if it's just like an SF thing to just like approach people on the street and say hi, but everybody's been really friendly. It's been great. So yeah.
Oh, well, that's cute. All right, we're going to get through a few tech support questions here. We're going to power through them, and then we'll end the show. First up is a Spotify comment from Daniel West regarding making good DSLRs cool again. Full frame CCD. CCD sensors have a lot of hype, and I believe the photodiode is the full size of each pixel, so it truly has light gathering advantages. But they can't be used in mirrorless cameras because live view through CCD would drain the battery too fast. This is how DSLRs can still provide something mirrorless can't, and for a real reason, not some artificial limitation. Make it retro for bonus points. Thoughts?
You go ahead, Jordan, first. I have my opinion.
Sorry, I'm always taking a beat just in case it's latency over here. I do have some thoughts on this, but it's an upcoming episode I would love to do, which is to get an aged CCD camera. Now, there were not many full-frame CCDs out there. Like Leica had one. There were a couple other manufacturers. Someone failed doing one of the early full-frame CCD sensors, I recall.
Didn't Leica have a medium format one? I thought Leica had a medium format.
They did as well,
CCD.
yes. Yeah, they did. Similar to the 4433 format we now use. So yeah, they're out there, but it's tough to do a head-to-head comparison. So I would love to get a 6 megapixel CMOS, shoot it out against a 6 megapixel CCD, and see, is it just nostalgia that everybody's crazy about CCD cameras, including the people who make the LSST, or is there a real distinct look that absolutely makes it worth trying to find some of these cameras or reintroduce a new one to market? I would love to do that. I think it would be a fun video comparison.
I totally would as well. I mean, you hear a lot of this talk of like, oh, CCD has interesting color and different tonal range and stuff like that. And, it'd be neat to see, even just from a theoretical standpoint, if there's much of a difference. But at the same time, even if there was a difference, I'm sort of in the camp of like, well, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And honestly, any changes in color and tone can be done digitally now. Like, I don't know, man. CMOS give you better low light performance, better dynamic range. That's the whole reason why I moved over to it. Less power consumption. I mean, everybody at the time couldn't get out of it fast enough, right? CMOS makes a lot more sense. More affordable to produce. Obviously, there's lots of benefits to it. But I mean, it's clear it's become the winner in the sensor game, right? Is it really going to like show differently? I feel like this is going to come down to like, a vacuum tubes versus solid state kind of thing, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think it's to make that big difference, but I would love to find out. I would love to see if there's a difference. I still don't think it's going to change my world.
Okay. Next one is an email from Patrick. Hi guys, this is Patrick from California. I have been evaluating the many options of my camera and struggling with the many potential trade-offs between resolution, compression type, and chroma subsampling. In my particular case, I have been using a long GOP 5.9K Vlog, which is 420, but I've started to experiment with Cinema 4K All Intra 422 HLG using the S1H. I am wondering if there are ways to weigh the trade-offs of all of these choices. Modern cameras give us lots of choices, but it is difficult to know which ones might yield better results, and it's only getting worse. Jordan, this sounds like a Jordan question.
It is, and I heard the question, so that's awesome. So really, when you're looking at these formats, you mentioned exporting HLG. If you're not going to be playing with them heavily, then you're not going to see a real difference between a 420 and a 422 color space on that. It's really when you start to play with those files quite a bit more aggressively. And in those cases, like when I'm not worried about heavy post, a great example is when I'm doing B-roll under controlled light. I just always shoot it in 420 in the higher resolution. I just gave Jaron those files when he was looking at B-roll for the Xiaomi phone. It's just like, well, I might as well throw as much resolution as possible and not be concerned too much about the color space on it. If you do plan to grade those heavily, like when we're out shooting Chris in high contrast on the streets of San Francisco.
Well, we've just been sitting around the whole time, just everywhere.
I want lots of bit depth for that because that's where you'll really see a heavy push, a considerable white balance shift can really make that image fall apart. So that's where I'll jump over to doing the 422. And then at the extreme end of that would be things like all-eye compression and raw video, which I find the use of that is very limited, where I'm like, man, I wish I shot in those more advanced codecs. The 422 10-bit is kind of the sweet spot for small file sizes, easy usability, and a lot of grading. But if you can get more resolution and you're not going to push the files, then sacrifice some bit depth and get a little more resolution.
All right. The next one is an email from Lewis, or I hope it's not Luis. I think it's Lewis. Lewis. Hi, I'll try and make this short. I recently got a job taking photos at restaurants and clubs. Apparently, I have potential, so they are asking me to set up with a lot of things to help this little photography company grow. At the moment, I'm taking photos with their cameras, which are Nikon DSLRs, which are okay. But I don't really love the amount of missed shots I take due to the speed and having to use the OVF instead of the EVF, and it's so slow when using the screen. I'm a Fuji cultist, though, only have my X106 for a year and loving it, but I need the zoom, so I can't bring my own camera in this case. Since they already use Nikon cameras, and I've been itching for an interchangeable lens camera, I was thinking of saving up to get myself either a used Nikon Z50, a Z52, or a Fuji X-T33. But I'm scared of Fuji's autofocus not hitting the target at least 95% of the time. These will be mostly low light scenarios, and we do a cold show light, though I'd rather get a regular speed light. So can you steer me in the right direction for camera buying wise? I don't want my cultish obsession with Fuji to blind me. And if there's a cheapish speed light you can recommend, I'd appreciate it too. This would be bought with my money I'm making at this gig, so it'll take me 2 to 3 months for me to pull the trigger. So I guess he's saying it's okay that if I'm late, which it happens all the time on these. Anyway, thank you so much. I've been a member since July of this year, 2025. So yeah, wow.
Thank you.
Definitely messed. Yeah, thank you very much. And I've loved every second of it. Thanks so much in advance.
So
I
shooting
don't think
photos?
Fujifilm misses shots 95% of the time. That is a gross exaggeration.
Well, I think what he wants is better than 95% hit rate. Better than 95%.
It doesn't fail 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Correctly. Yeah. Okay. So 5% failure rate. All right. That's
no. The Fuji focusing will be just fine. It's photos that they want to shoot. This person might be. He might be here. We don't know.
Yeah.
So I think what they were saying is there's like they're using a cold shoe light right now. So like a constant light in the cold shoe, or I don't know. Fujifilm makes speed lights that'll work just fine, as do Nikon. I don't think you could go wrong with either camera. I'd probably go X-T33 myself. I don't know. I like it. Fast glass is really going to be the key thing. Is it? Rather than Z52?
Yeah, I didn't think. It's not that I disagree with you. I just thought I wasn't expecting you to say that.
You know what? I think I just associate Fujifilm with having more interesting, like fast prime lenses for low light shooting. But focus-wise, I don't know. I think they'd both do the job just fine between those choices.
I kind of agree with you there. Anything to add, Jordan?
No, you went dark for a large part of the question there, and I'm sorry I did not hear the question that was
Great.
Sorry.
Fantastic. I'm moving on.
I mean, if you're already a
next one
cultist, stick with Fujifilm. Get some fast glass. That'll be key. They have some pretty basic speed lights, although honestly, I'm kind of out of practice with speed lights on Fujifilm.
Just get a Godox. They make the best strobes right now,
Yeah.
and they're available in every mount.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do a merch message here from Christopher Wu. This is when someone purchases a product from the PetaPixel store, and they can leave us a message when they do so. All it is no question. Just wanted to say, longtime reader, listener, watcher, and if I have a huge event that I'm editing, I always look to catch up on the PetaPixel podcast while I'm editing. Thanks. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate that.
That's why we do it.
And with that, because Jordan's connection is unpredictable, we're going to end with the feel-good story of the week.
What?
And that's, so you guys remember last year, Tamron did a Godzilla-themed booth at CP Plus.
They won
This
CP
year-
Plus.
Now I've got my
This year-
Camerazilla shirt on right now. Look at that.
This year, they did a Back to the Future themed one, and the DeLorean that's there is the DeLorean.
Wow.
Wow. That must
From the
cost
movie.
a fortune. Was it already in Japan?
Yes. So apparently there's like 4 total DeLoreans used for the film, and one of them was in Japan. So it's
There
on
you
loan
go.
from Japan. The guy that they have acting on stage, he's from the UK, as I understand it. He's a British actor. But this is a fun booth that is totally awesome.
I'll have to go look
And
it up.
it looks really cool. So just wanted to.
I want an interview with Doc Brown. That seems like vertical gold, Jaron. Go film that.
Well, it's not him. It's an actor playing him. An actor
What?
Is he
playing
playing
an
Doc
actor.
Brown?
If
or is
he's
he-
really
so-
convincing, we'll never
Is he
know.
playing Marty McFly or Doc Brown? What?
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown,
Have you seen the
yeah.
pictures?
Oh,
It's
okay.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen the pictures.
Yeah,
no.
I took pictures. He gets in the DeLorean for us. It's
Dang.
great. I was standing there with Jason Vong. We took pictures of him, so it was fun.
Nice.
So there you go. That's the feel good story of the week. And with that, our connection failing, we're gonna call it here. Thank you so much for listening to the PetaPixel podcast, and we will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.
Yeah. Have a great time in Japan, Jaron. I hope you and Sarah have a lovely time.
Thank you. So much more work to do. Have fun in San Francisco.
Almost done.
What?